Hi folks, David Egan here. Before I get started door knocking at Edmonton Griesbach, I thought I would change up the theme of my videos a little bit. Do something a little bit nonpartisan or bipartisan would probably be more accurate. How do you run for office? That's probably the number one question that I get when I tell people at the doors that I'm running to be their candidate for the Conservative Party. How do you run? Well, there's a few options. You know, I'm making this video because that really wasn't something that was easy to find when I decided that I wanted to, get involved in politics. I really didn't understand the process until well into my 20s. So I was pretty lucky that I was able to find some great mentors out there. Three of them, David Dorward, Doug Elniski, and the late Janice Sarich. David and Janice actually ran, they called it candidate school. So they rented a classroom to anyone that was interested in running for the Conservative Party. They spent an entire day explaining the process and how to do it. And it's not a simple process, right? It's not something that's intuitive necessarily. It's just something that folks either have to figure out, or maybe they can watch a video like this and figure it out. So let's say you want to run for a party, right? Doesn't matter which one. I think folks change their political ideology over time, sometimes in their lives, or maybe they are always part of one team, right? So that's one of the first things you need to do. You need to pick a team, right? Because that's what politics is. It's a team sport, especially party politics. So after you pick a team, go get a membership, get involved. Reach out to the party that you sign up for. Try to get on, provincially it's called a constituency association. Federally it's called a EDA, electoral district association. So get involved, join one of the boards, participate in policy discussions, go to an AGM, meet people, because that's really what politics is, right? It's team building, it's relationship building, and it's getting to know people and getting people behind you to do something like what I'm doing right now. So I have the benefit of having ran provincially once before, winning a contested nomination provincially, and now I'm involving myself in a contested nomination federally. It's a very similar process though. And it's hard work. That's really what it is. There's financial things that you need to sort out. You need to get a CFO, you need to set up a campaign bank account, and you need to fundraise. And you can't fundraise it all yourself either. You need to get it from others because there are limits in what you can donate. Federally, it's even tighter than what it is provincially. So it really is something that you have to get a lot of people involved in. Friends, family, just random people that you meet at the doors that like what you have to sell, that are buying into whatever you're trying to portray to the community. That's what it is. So I'm right here door knocking, right? So you go to somebody's house, you introduce yourself, you talk about your background, the reasons why you want to run, and then you offer them an opportunity to buy a membership for the party that you're running for, because you can't run, or you can't vote for somebody in a nomination unless you're a member. It really is like a mini election, right? So it's hard, right? Sometimes different parties charge different amounts. Some charge, something like $1. When I ran provincially, it was $10. Federally, it's $15, right? So for a year membership. So, generally the nomination vote is within that year. So 1 year membership is probably okay. So after they purchase a membership, that's how, you can get them on your mailing list. That's how you can touch base with them later, maybe recruit them as volunteers. But the most important part is to make sure that they show up to vote on the nomination date that gets set. So, there's, every party does things differently, and federally, provincially, and even in some cities, they have parties municipally. They do things subtly a little bit different, but generally speaking, there's a point at which the nomination opens, right? So that's the official race. But you can door knock all you want. I know of candidates that have door knocked for 4 years. You know, they run once, they lose, they decide to start campaigning right away, and maybe they win next time, right? So that's sort of the process there. But once the nomination opens, there's typically, you know, a few additional weeks that you have to sell memberships, depending on the rules that you're following. And then there's a cutoff. No more memberships. You sometimes get a couple weeks to sell yourselves to the existing members. So, you know, generally speaking, hopefully the people that you sold a membership to will come out to vote for you, but everybody gets the list after that. So this is actually called the persuasion phase. So your job is to go to your members to make sure that the other guys and girls didn't change their minds, or, you know, you can go to the existing membership and try to encourage them to vote for you. And you can also go to your opponent's memberships, because it's all information that gets released to you, and you try to convince them, you know, maybe why the other guy or other girl isn't the best choice. So that's really what it is. They show up on nomination day. You know, sometimes everyone likes to say, you know, I don't feel like my vote counts. In a nomination, I know of one nomination that happened fairly recently in the last year where it was decided by one vote. Absolutely every vote counts. So, I mean, that's the story. You know, I'm of the opinion that more good people in politics from any side of the political spectrum is a good thing. You know, that challenges each of us to do better and to do more. And this is how we get good policy, when you have, you know, constructive debate that happens back and forth. And this is how we get left with, you know, good, solid local candidates that actually want to represent the area that they're running for, versus, you know, people that just pick an opportunity to run in an area that they think is winnable, or that they think they can win a nomination. So, I mean, that's the story. If you want to get involved, and if you don't know what to do, even if you want to run for a different party, please send me a message, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you through this, right? And, you know, if there's people that I know that I can get you connected with that might be able to help you through this process, I'd be happy to. You know, the one of the sad things about public service is that it's brutal, right? It can be really negative. It doesn't matter what side you take, by the way. People are going to attack you for it. I sometimes tell people it's the only community service where the public is actively encouraged to hate you for it, which is true more often than it should be, I think, but it is. And you really have to have a passion for it. And, you know, there's some people I think that get into it trying to get some level of prestige. One of my favorite stories that I heard once was former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. He said once that, you know, one of the most humbling moments was him walking through Times Square, not getting recognized once. Generally, you know, even within Canada, the general population doesn't necessarily know who you are, unless you're maybe premier or prime minister or mayor or something like that, right? So you really have to have a passion for community service to want to do it and to be successful at doing it. You know, I got my first membership. I, you know, decided I really liked Danielle Smith in 2012, and I bought my first ever Wild Rose membership. A few years later, after, you know, attending a couple AGMs and, you know, just being on mailing lists and just paying attention to things, I reached out to the party and I tried to join a board, a constituency association. And that was my first way of, you know, getting actively involved in the political process there. So that was around the time, maybe a year or two later, I guess, that was when we had civic elections that were going on here. And that was when unity was happening, when they were merging the two conservative parties here. So I actually found myself on 7 different teams at the same time, but I loved it. I felt like I was getting addicted to this community service, and I knew this was what I wanted to do. So I used this time to door knock with people, to meet friends. Some of the people I supported won, some were upsets. One really cool example was John Zadek. I helped him in 2017 and he won, and he was an upset. Nobody expected an incumbent to lose during that time, and he surprised a lot of people. He just put in the work. That's what he did. And then we had a leadership race, of course, and then provincially we had a by-election that we were trying to support our new leader in doing. And then I decided I wanted to run for a nomination. So I think the by-election was December, January. I declared my nomination in May. So I have a very loving and compassionate wife. I was actually getting married in June, so she let me do this right in the middle of it. But yeah, it's a grind. I'm door knocking right now, or I'm about to go door knocking. And you have to go to house to house, door to door, and try to convince them to buy a membership. Sometimes, it doesn't matter if the membership's $1, $10, or $100. It sometimes feels like it's just as difficult. But this is how you get people actively engaged in the political process. And a few people that I've met at the doors have become some of my best volunteers, some of my best fundraisers. One of my friends that I met in Clairview when I ran in Edmonton, Beverly, Clairview, is a fellow named Mikhailo Martinuk. He decided to run in the Senate elections a couple of years ago, and now he's a senator in waiting. I think that's so cool. And, I hope there's more people that get involved. I hope, I am able to maybe mentor some aspiring MLAs, city councilors, or MPs. And this is because it's something I'm passionate about. So I hope you enjoyed my video. It was a little long, 12 minutes, but I think that tells you a little bit about the nomination process. And generally speaking, it's pretty similar regardless of the party that you want to run for. So again, if you have any questions, please shoot me a message. I may not get back to you right away, but I'll be happy to try to point you in the right direction. Thank you so much.